This video is sponsored by Protect America, a leader in home security systems. We have arranged for you to receive a free indoor camera and doorbell camera when you take advantage of their services. Keep your family safe and check out their website using the special link on the screen or in the description box.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Max Impact Theory. This is the part 2 of the 3-part series, Don't Pry Me, so enjoy.
She never did this experiment, but she wanted to do an experiment where somebody would go to the gym, just talk to people that were there.
Yeah, she talks about that. She's like, all right, so the craziest thing that we could ever do is we never did the study, but basically, so you have the lady. It was in conjunction with this study, where if you think you're working out and going to the gym while you're at work, then you're gonna lose weight. And so they said she had a picture of a lady on a treadmill and a lady like her coach or whatever, her trainer, standing there just smiling at her, telling her she's doing a good job. And she said, now this theory might go as far as just saying that this lady here standing and watching this girl work out, if she has the mindset that she's at the gym all day, she might, be losing weight and being healthier, and because she has the mindset of I'm at the gym all day, so I'm healthy.
I'd like to see that experiment because, well, I don't know if that would go as well as she said, because we're in.
She doesn't think it would go that well. It's probably why they never did it. But she's just saying it's
possible.
In theory, because of how the chambermaid study went. In theory, this might have slight changes on. I don't know how they'd set it up. You'd have to find people that didn't think they were working out because they were at the gym. Yeah. But
that I think I told you this story before about a guy who found out I was a martial arts instructor and he wanted to. I don't know. This guy was like this ultra spiritual type, and he asked me if he's like, yeah, if I meditated about doing martial arts, would that make me a martial artist? And I was like, look, dude, I said, there's nothing like standing in front of somebody in a sparring match to teach you some lessons. I don't think you can get that from meditation. So
yeah. Now, you can get the knowledge, but not the skills.
Now, I think that meditation on top of learning the martial arts might be a good thing, but I don't know about that. I don't know if that would work. So I have a little bit of doubts. I think that you'd have to be doing some kind of exercise and then present it to somebody as exercise when they thought it was work and not exercise.
Yeah.
And I think that would make it more effective in that study. The next thing she talked about was the eye chart reversal experiment. So when you go to do an eye exam, we all see this eye chart where you have the big letter at the top and the smaller letters as you go down. She wanted to see what would happen, because there's an implicit idea that when you're starting at the top, that at some point in the chart, when you get to the smaller letters, that you're not going to be able to see it anymore. So what she did in this experiment was she reversed it. In other words, she put all the small letters at the top and the big letter at the bottom. And she found if she took the same people and did it one way and then did it the other way, that people would actually be able to read the whole chart. And what she found was that a lot of people have assumptions about how good their sight is, and they would go with this assumption.
Yeah, she was saying that people would, when you walk up to that, I've caught myself doing this too. I'll probably get down to there, and people never get past that.
And he says it's always 2/3. She actually knows it's 2/3.
And so what she did at first to break them of that cycle, because she can't just do small to big, because people say they won't be able to read the top. What she did was she took the biggest letters, and put them on the bottom. So she split it in half and did so she did the middle at the top down to the small, and then the big letters in the middle down to the medium.
She did it a few different ways, where she actually added lines of even smaller letters,
and they could read it still.
They could, if they did it with the regular eye chart, they could get to the bottom line, and then they couldn't get to the bottom line, But if you added a line under that was even smaller letters, that they could actually read down to that bottom line, and then they wouldn't read the new bottom line.
Yeah. So you might have 20/20 vision. It's just your mind.
Yeah.
You told yourself that you couldn't do it.
Well, I wear glasses for reading, and I was really thinking about this a lot, that as soon as I have to read something, I automatically assume I can't read it now, and I grab my glasses right away. And that's what she's talking about. She's not saying that your eyesight is going to get better. She's saying that in a lot of situations, you're probably using your glasses when you don't need to, and you're actually priming your mind to think that you have bad eyesight, which makes your eyesight even worse. So what I've been trying to do over
Don't prime yourself.
Yeah, don't prime yourself. Maybe that's the lesson we're trying to teach here, is don't prime yourself for something. But what I've done in the last couple weeks is I will try to read something first and only use my glasses for the parts that you can't read. And I find that a lot of times I can read a lot, and then I get to one word where I really can't see it, and I can put on my glasses and then continue to read.
She even did to the point where she took cancer survivors, and normally when you survive cancer, they say you're in remission.
Yeah.
Which means there's a chance to come back. And she said that she took some doctors and told them to tell their their patients, all right, so they beat cancer, right? And they say it's in remission, and then they took some people and said, all right, you're cured.
Yeah.
Cancer's gone, you're cured. Because technically that's what it is. It's just they say remission because it can come back.
Yeah.
And they said that there was she wants to do more studies on it, but there's a significant percentage of people that were told that they were cured that didn't have cancer come back, that they didn't go back into remission.
Yeah, because you're actually, again, priming yourself. If you say remission, it means, it may come back. She was kind of comparing
it just means it's on vacation and it probably will come back.
Yeah, so she was comparing it to having a cold. When we have a cold, we assume that one cold is gone, and then when the next one comes, cold comes, it's a separate cold.
Yeah.
Even though it could be the same cold that just came back. So she was trying to say, well, how about cancer? If you have cancer and it gets cured, the next incident is just another cancer.
Yeah, it's not. It's not the same one coming back.
It's almost separate.
Yeah.
She was talking about too. I'm trying to remember the case where. This is tough. Okay. She was talking about alcoholism. Now, when you say alcoholism and you call it a disease, that she says that has really negative connotations as a disease. In other words, it's always there. It's always eating away at you and causing damage to you. And she suggests, I don't know if she did an experiment on this or not, but she was talking about not calling it that, calling it an allergy. In other words, you're allergic to alcohol, and that's why you stay away from it. In other words, if it's a disease and it's something that's going to attack back at you, that that causes people to say, "Oh, I'm trying to resist the alcohol." But say you have an allergy, like a peanut allergy. How easy is it for somebody who has a severe peanut allergy to stay away from peanuts?
Even mild peanut allergies, people have an EpiPen on them and stuff like that.
But they have no problem staying away from it, right? Because it is an allergy. They know it's going to kill them, if they have peanuts. So they're really careful. Well, she said that if you think of alcoholism more as an allergy, that you're more likely to have compliance to people not having alcohol because they're allergic to it and they know that it's going to do damage to them.
Yeah.
Compared to calling it a disease where it's like it's always there and it's going to get, come back, where you're not going to have the control to stop the disease from happening.
She also talked about terminal illness too.
Yeah.
When you say illness is terminal, that means you can't beat it.
Yeah.
So they're saying we should start calling, get away from the word terminal, because to people that means that there's no hope, so why even fight? Or just the mindset of, I can beat this. When you say terminal, the mindset is I can't beat this. Yeah,
she said she talked a lot in the book about the line, between, it's an actual doctor's decision between whether the disease, there's a line. So you have this line, and on the one side of the line you're terminal, and on the other side you're not terminal. She said right at the line, the people that are just before terminal and the people that are just after the line of terminal, that the people that are told that this is curable are a lot more likely than the people that are told that they're terminal. So it's better to tell them that they're not terminal, because there's a chance, there's like a higher likelihood of them recovering from it if you tell them that.
Yeah. And if you think about it, just the way you think about things can have an actual tangible and physical effect on what you're doing.
Yeah.
There should be more research on it, and not just, Ellen
Yeah.
chipping at the block and nobody else helping her.
So going back, I want to go back a second to the eye, the eye
chart.
experiment.
Yeah.
Before we move on, is the other thing I noticed too, and I was saying how I was not wearing my glasses only when I needed to. I started reading without the glasses, and then I actually, in a time, I would put the glasses back on and start reading after reading a few paragraphs without. And I actually found out that my eyes would see the words better after. It's kind of like, when you go up to in baseball and you're getting ready to hit, to be up to bat, and they take two bats and kind of swing them a bunch of times. So
Or they'll
the
put
bat,
weights on them or something like that.
yeah, so the bat feels really light when they get up there. And I noticed that not using my glasses actually had that kind of effect on my sight. If I made it hard for me to see and did it anyway, and then used my glasses, that I actually could see the words better with my glasses.
Yeah.
Compared to automatically putting them on. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Well, going into the next topic, we have the hairstyle study.
So the hairstyle study is like, it's one of those things where it's just literally mind over matter, because they didn't do anything other than ask somebody if they looked good. So what they did was they took some ladies and they had their hair cut, and the ones that thought that they looked younger, they took a picture of, but they covered their hair.
Yeah.
And they said, oh yeah, I still look younger, and then they had other people look at those pictures, and they said that the person before the haircut and then the person after the haircut with their hair covered, the later picture actually looked younger as well. And so just from perceiving to look younger, and they therefore felt younger, and they also had lower blood pressure just from feeling like they looked good and younger.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean,
that's like bare bones mindset.
Yeah,
that has a physical effect on you.
Yeah, just because you think you feel younger, all of a sudden you act younger. And I bet if you take those people and gave them tests, they would actually walk like they're younger. They probably could. I bet they could exercise more like they're younger.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of positive benefits. I was one of the things she was talking about is a lot of times, say you were an athlete when you're younger, and in your mind, a lot of old athletes, they continue to feel like they're athletes throughout their life, even though they're still not able to do what they did when they were, a pro at tennis or track and field or in football. And she found that those people that had that idea in their head that they were an athlete their whole life, not an aging athlete, and they actually still felt like they were an athlete.
Even if they thought they were older, they felt like they were still better than most of the population.
Yeah, and she found that the health indicators for those people were much better, just like the people in the haircut that felt like they were younger. It actually makes you feel like you're younger.
Yeah.
So the next one was the Air Force study. So that was the sight study, right?
So it was like, they're like, okay, so if we change the sight chart around and people can see better, so what else can we do? And so what they did was they took people that believed that Air Force pilots had better, sight than the average person.
Because we always heard that one of the requirements to flying a fighter plane was that you have to have 20/20 vision. So.
Yeah, or excellent eyesight.
Yeah.
So they took a bunch of people, and they had them do a simulation where they were like flying a plane, and they had to read the numbers on the side of a plane.
Mm-hmm. That were from the eye. Weren't they from the eye?
I think they were just numbers. They had to identify the aircraft before they could shoot it down, and they made it really small so none of them could actually see it, and then they couldn't read them anyway. They could see it, but they couldn't read it. And then what they did was they took an Air Force pilot uniform and gave it to them and had them do the same simulation with the letters at the same size. Yeah, at the same size, and they're wearing the uniform and they could see it.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, let's go smaller. So they went smaller, they could still see it. And they went smaller, and they could still see it. And then eventually they couldn't see it anymore. But something that they couldn't read before,
they could read with the Air Force.
They could read with the Air Force pilot, and then they could read even smaller.
Yeah.
So that's just the mindset of, okay, I am now an Air Force pilot. I'm wearing an Air Force pilot uniform. I feel good. I can read this.
Yeah.
And the same thing, like when I get dressed up or I'll put a suit on or something like that, I feel good. I look good. You know what I mean? And, like you get that feeling like when you look in the mirror, you're like, man, I look good. You know what I mean?
And then you feel younger. That could make you feel younger.
Yeah, you probably feel a little more, like you could, command the room a little better.
Yes.
You could be a little funnier.
Wow, that was almost a perfect segue into our next thing is clothing as an indicator of age too.
Yeah.
Because you could put clothes on and make you feel younger, but she found also that putting on clothes for work. Say you're talking about
the same
work.
Clothes.
Yeah, if you're wearing a uniform that makes everybody in the group uniform, and that she found since you were the same age or looked the same as people that were younger than you, that those people would actually act younger than people that had to change their clothes for work, like pick their clothes for work all the time. And the way it works is, if you are the type that needs to buy clothes for work all the time, is that you actually notice the difference in the clothes. As you get older, you start thinking, oh, well, I'm getting too old to wear this, so I have to wear something that looks like this.
Yeah.
Like a suit or something that makes you look or feel older, and in the end, that makes you act older.
Yeah, so she was talking about, like, because of that, then she's like, well, maybe clothes are a marker for age.
Yeah, the clothes are a marker for age.
Like the military, when they go in the military, when they're 18, 19, 20, so they're relatively young. And then they wear that uniform throughout their lives. And then when they're older, then they still are wearing the uniform. And they said that people in the military that have been in the military for most of their lives have lower morbidity rate. Because
they still see them as their young self in the uniform?
Yeah.
So you're saying with us being karate instructors and us putting on our uniforms all the time, so we're going to live forever, right?
Yeah.
or
at least we'll be really functional old people.
Because, since we've both taken martial arts since, we were young, that according to her theory, when we put on that uniform, we would still see ourselves as younger when we put the uniform on.
Yeah.
This brings up a great story about Fenakoshi, who was the founder of our karate. I was reading a guy named, what was the name? Harada, Master Harada. He used to kind of cart, I don't know if the cart is the word, but he would escort Fenakoshi when he was old to different seminars and classes that he was going to teach. And he said that when Fenakoshi was going there, he would display all the signs of somebody who had maybe a little bit of senility and, was old. But he said that as soon as he put on that uniform, he would transform into this younger, spry, old
the
person.
Master Fenakoshi.
Yeah, it would be almost like the Master Fenakoshi. He's like putting it on.
Yeah.
Himself, and instantly would be younger. So that kind of like is the same idea as, clothing as kind of like your age marker
Yeah.
in your life.
Well, it maybe that's just, a mindset of, hey, I'm old. I have people carting me around and doing everything for me because I'm old. And then when you put that on, it just reminds you of a time where you're younger. You are, more, you know, capable of doing things. And so
Yeah.
in your mind, you're like, oh, I got this gi on. I'm like a superhero now.
Yeah. It's kind of like, we've all seen Superman and, his what was it, Clark Kent,
Yeah.
is as soon as he put on his Superman outfit, all of a sudden he was like this strong guy. But when he didn't have that uniform on, he was this kind of nerdy, insecure.
I think it's taken a
Dude.
little too far, but
Yeah. Now tell me
I
something.
see where you're going. All right, guys, that is the end of part 2. We have one more part in this series. So stay tuned next week. Don't forget, you guys can message us at the theory at Max Impact Karate. And we will see you guys next week with part 3.